Right now, Motorola has an edge in the mid-range, but it has its razor-sharp focus in its Ultra flip phone lineup. See what I did there? Well, this is the new Motorola Razr 60 Ultra and it packs so much specs for a flip phone. I think it packs the most amount of specs for a flip phone that I've seen till date. So much so that it has all the capabilities and features that you come to expect from a candy bar flagship phone. So let's check what's new in this Razr 60 Ultra and I'll tell you all about it. Alright, if you're watching me for the first time, I'm Ashar. This is Trakin Tech English, your destination for detailed, incisive gadget reviews. Now, this Razr is the first phone in the world, not just the first foldable, to actually use Alcantara for the back material. Alcantara is basically like fabric, but like a premium version of fabric, and it's used inside the interiors of very, very expensive cars. By the way, it has a suede-like texture, it's got a matte-like finish. So obviously, when you hold it, it feels very, very premium. There's another variant that comes with a real wood finish, and that instantly reminded me of the awesome Moto X. Nostalgia. Anyway, when you look at the slimness of the phone, it's actually 7.29 millimeters when you open it up, and when it's shut, it's about 15.69 millimeters. Plus, the weight of the phone is under 200 grams, which makes it very comfortable to hold and use. It's a perfect phone for one-handed usage, especially when it's shut and you can use the external display like to your heart's content, and I'll talk about that in a bit. Now, Motorola has made huge improvements to the hinge once again. It is ultra durable now. It can withstand up to 8 lakh folds, which is fantastic for a flip phone. And it could achieve this because it is a proper titanium hinge. It has reduced the volume of the hinge as well. And it has also optimized the tension of the spring. Basically, it's a very sturdy hinge and it can open up from 45 degrees up to 120 degrees. It's not just the hinge where Motorola has made improvements. The IP rating has also been upgraded from IPX8 to IP48 now. You also get an aluminum frame plus the regular ports and buttons that you can expect from a phone. But more importantly, there's an extra button for Moto AI specifically. I'll talk about Moto AI in a bit, but the Type-C port at the bottom is actually USB 2.0. That's something you have to keep in mind. And I'm kind of disappointed with this move. It should have had USB 3.1 for faster speeds. Now, coming to the display, for starters, you have this 4-inch OLED panel on the outside, and then you have this 7-inch OLED panel for the main course. Wait, now I'm hungry. I'm hungry not just for food, but also for subscribers. Why don't you guys go and hit that subscribe button if you're watching our content and if you like the kind of work that we do? Your support is important to us. Give us a subscription, please. Now, this 4-inch display is also kitted out. You get a flexible AMOLED panel, of course, but it has 165 Hz refresh rate on the outside when you're playing games and 120 Hz in the UI. And this is also an LTPO panel to ensure that you get better battery life. Yes, you heard that right. You can actually play games on this display if you wanted to. Plus, it has a peak brightness of 3000 nits, 100% DCI-P3 color gamut support, and Dolby Vision support on the outside as well. And the display on the outside is also protected by Corning's Gorilla Glass ceramic solution, which I think is the first for any flip phone. Now, just like the Razr 50 Ultra, you can do tons of things with the external display on the Razr 60 Ultra. You get support for Moto panels. Basically, you have multiple panels and you can keep the panels that you like to use. For example, you can have a panel for Spotify, you can have a panel for calendar, all of that. You can also play games like I mentioned, and you can almost use every app to work on the external display. And truth be told, when we were trying it out, we thought that there might be some hiccups, but thankfully it worked fine. Then there's also a desk display mode where you have a tent mode and a stand mode, and I'll elaborate about this in the software section. Now, once you open up the display, what you get is a 7-inch 1.5K resolution AMOLED panel, and it has an aspect ratio of 22:9. It's a very tall and very large panel. Of course, it's also a 10-bit flexible display which can go up to 165 Hz when you're playing certain games, and in the UI it's 120 Hz. Plus, you also do get LTPO support as well, just like the cover display. There's 4500 nits of peak brightness, support for Dolby Vision, and a wider DCI-P3 color gamut of 120%. But in our testing, we noticed that HDR support is available on YouTube, but Dolby Vision support is not available on Netflix, which I'm sure should come in a future update. And just like most of the Motorola displays that we've tested in 2025, this one is also truly flagship grade with proper Pantone validation and really good HDR gradation as well. Now, one thing with flip phones and fold phones that we need to definitely discuss is the crease, and it's almost invisible on the Razr 60 Ultra. So basically, Motorola has managed to achieve this by removing the pressure-sensitive adhesive layer that's between the display and the hinge plate. And to fill that existing gap, it has actually added 2 additional plates to either side of the hinge, and therefore the crease has reduced and there's also very little stress. So yeah, a nearly creaseless experience with really well-tuned display panel. I think this is the flip phone display to beat in 2025. You also do get support for Dolby Atmos with the stereo speakers, and they do sound very punchy, very rich. Take a listen to it for yourself. And of course, one thing that we check regularly because we're a bunch of audiophiles out here is the support for LHDC and LDAC, and well, the Razr 60 Ultra supports that too. And now don't quote me on this, but I feel like the haptic feedback experience and the way haptics have been integrated in the system UI on a flip phone, it is possibly the best here on the Razr 60 Ultra. Now you must be wondering, where's the fingerprint scanner, Rishad? Well, it's embedded in the power button. Yeah, it's not on the display. Now let's talk about the cameras, and the Motorola Edge 60 Ultra actually has three 50 megapixel cameras. The selfie camera has been upgraded from 32 MP to 50 MP now, and on the rear you have a 50 MP primary camera and a 50 MP ultra wide as well. Yes, the 2x telephoto has been replaced with an ultra wide now, but this ultra wide can also double up as a macro shooter. Now I've not stress tested the cameras yet, but we did take a few samples here and there, and what we notice is that in daylight the pictures from the primary camera do come out sharp and pretty detailed. Colors are also fairly accurate thanks to that Pantone tuning, but if you want, you can also pick your signature style for colors, which basically gives you the access to customize your colors. And you do also get impressive HDR tuning where there's very good control over the details and the highlights. Now I do also like the pictures that we took of our colleagues, but the portrait mode definitely needs some work. Low light shots using the primary camera are fine, not too bad. Now you can achieve a nice 2x shot with very little loss of detail as well thanks to the in-sensor crop. So basically Moto replacing that 2x telephoto with a 2x in-sensor crop kind of makes sense. The ultra-wide camera is also pretty good both in daylight and low light, but when you can use it to take macros, it springs to life with even better performance. Now selfies from the selfie camera are pretty good now that you actually don't need to flip the phone and use the phone in camcorder mode to take the selfie with the primary camera. Now you can shoot 4K 60 FPS using all the three cameras, but you can also record Dolby Vision videos in 4K 60 FPS from the rear cameras. And the quality, as you can tell, is there for you to see on your screen right now.
Hey guys, this is a 4K 60 video sample of the Moto Razr. Hey guys, right now we are recording with the ultra wide camera of the Moto Razr. This can also do 4K 60 FPS. Right now we are recording with the front camera. Let me know how's the video quality, let me know how's the stabilization.
By the way, the camcorder mode that I mentioned actually switches automatically to the camcorder mode when you set the phone in 90 degrees and just hold it. Plus there's the action shot feature, which I did talk about when I talked about the Edge 60 Pro, and you know what, it actually does work really well over here as well. Overall, it's a good set of cameras and it's doing a good job with the photos as well, as you can tell from the samples. Let me know if you guys want like a detailed testing and we'll try to do that for you. Alright, now time to talk about the performance, and definitely when you look at the on-paper specs, it's a huge upgrade from the Razr 50 Ultra. Motorola is pulling no punches. Basically what you get is Snapdragon 8 Elite up from Snapdragon 8s Gen 3 on the Razr 50 Ultra. Plus there's only one variant, which is a 16/512GB variant with LPDDR5X RAM type and UFS 4.0 storage. But the performance tuning is still very conservative, primarily because Motorola has tuned it for excellent battery life, and which is exactly the way I would want it on a flip phone. Of course, I'll talk about the battery in a bit, but with Snapdragon 8 Elite, what you get, or what we got when we tested it out, was an Antutu score of 2.2 million. Ideally, it can go up to 2.7 million, but it's 2.2 million with this phone. The Geekbench scores are almost on par with most other Snapdragon 8 Elite phones that we've tested. Now, we also did play Genshin Impact, and of course, it drops frames, and we got an average FPS of 48.9, but thankfully, it didn't get too hot. So that's exactly what I was expecting. The phone shouldn't get hot, and it should have great battery life. And the battery inside is a 4700 mAh unit, up from 4000 mAh on the Razr 50 Ultra, and you get excellent battery life with the phone. Now, we didn't extensively test the battery life out. This is just the initial run, but generally when we do initial runs, the battery life is lower because, you know, the phone takes some time to use the adaptive battery technology to improve the battery life. Now, even in our initial run, we lost about 58% charge, and we had a screen on time of 4 hours and 47 minutes. Now, if this phone gives me a screen on time of over 8 hours, that is mission accomplished. And I think that it can do it very easily. That's not it. You get 68-watt fast charging support with the 68-watt charger inside the box. It's a USB PD charger, and you also do get support for 30-watt wireless charging as well. And the charge from 1 to 100% takes about 40 minutes, which is actually pretty fast. Now, with respect to network capabilities, you get support for 17 5G bands, which is basically almost all the 5G bands that you'd ever need. You also do get support for Bluetooth 5.4, NFC, and Wi-Fi 7. The software experience on the Razr 60 Ultra is mostly defined by Moto AI, but essentially what you get is Hello UI based on Android 15, and Motorola is promising 3+4 years of OS updates. Now, considering this is a flagship phone, I expected a few more years of update promise from Motorola, but that's not really the case. It's 3+4. As for the third-party apps and bloatware situation, it's actually very clean. All you get are first-party apps, of course, Google apps as well, most of which are useful. And of course, your Moto staples like chopped up to flashlight, like Moto gestures, and a few other Moto features exist. But this phone, including the Edge series that we tested recently, is defined by Moto AI experiences. And truth be told, Motorola throws a lot at you, and most of it actually works, and it's intuitive and it's easy to use use as well. Let me break down a few of these AI features for you. So firstly, what you get is sketch to image. Name is very self-explanatory. You also do get AI playlist studio. Basically, you give it a prompt and it will create a playlist automatically. It works only with Amazon Music for now. There's Catch Me Up, which basically summarizes all of your notifications. There's also Image Studio, which generates images using prompts. You have different kinds of image options as well, like I mentioned. There's of course Style Sync, which basically syncs your outfit and your wallpaper. There is Take Notes, and remember this, which is possibly one of my favorite features because it lets you take voice notes and then Moto AI transcribes it for you and adds it to your notes app. It also transcribes if two people are talking, which is nice. And tying all of this together is something called Next Move. Essentially, if you're on a page and if you don't know what AI function you need to use over there, you can just hit the Moto AI button and it will give you some suggestions. For example, it will give you options to explore with perplexity, or to maybe remember this, or to maybe create a playlist. All of that is possible. There's also something called This on That, which is a new feature. Let me explain that. Basically, if you have multiple Motorola products connected using Smart Connect, for example, this Moto Pad 60 Pro and the Razr 60 Ultra, then you can just talk to the Razr 60 Ultra and say, okay, play Spotify on my pad, and it will do that, which kinda happens seamlessly and it's pretty cool as well. Motorola also gives you two specific modes to use this flip form factor, which is basically the stand mode and the tent mode. Now, with this stand mode or tent mode, you can show the clock, you can show, album, all of that is possible, but it also uses AI to enhance the experience. Basically, there's something called Look to Talk, where you can actually look at the external display and trigger whatever Moto AI function that you want. For example, you can use it to recall a memory. I had placed my keys on the table and asked the phone to remember this. Then I used recall to figure out where it was.
Your keys are on the dining room table.
You can even ask it, when is IPL 2025 restarting, and it will answer that question for you.
The IPL 2025 season restarted on May 17th and the final match is on June 3rd.
And this on that to play Spotify songs on the Pad 60 Pro. Basically, Look to Talk is actually very, very useful.
Perfect Spotify is now streaming on your Moto Pad 60 Pro.
By the way, all of these AI features are enhanced by the fact that there are multiple LLMs running within the phone itself. Of course, there's Perplexity, there's Microsoft Copilot, but more importantly, you also do get support for Google Gemini, which many people might have thought, oh wait, Google Gemini is not available. No, Gemini is available. You can even use Gemini Advanced, which is pretty awesome. I think Motorola is one of the first brands to actually use so many different LLMs, which is possibly also the reason why it's taking up a lot of storage space for the software itself. Now, the more I use the Motorola Razr 60 Ultra, it felt like Moto wants to ensure that you do not miss out on the features and performance that you can get from a flagship phone. So the displays are fantastic. The external display is actually properly usable with almost all apps working on the external display. Plus, you've got a bunch of AI features that I find definitely useful in real life. More importantly, the battery life on this has been improved, which is something that I expected Motorola to do, and they've actually gone ahead and achieved that. Yes, the performance could have been tuned better, but it's not meant to be a gaming phone. So if you're expecting it to be a gaming phone, then this won't be the right one for you. So yeah, my first impressions are pretty positive for the Razr 60 Ultra, and I might even daily drive it. Maybe, I'm not so sure yet. But this is a premium phone that comes at a premium price. So the price right now for the 512GB variant of the phone, which is the only variant that's going to be available, is 1 lakh, and you also get discounts, which brings the price down to 90,000. Now you guys tell me what you think of the price. Do you think it's alright? Do you think it's not alright? Let me know in the comments. And by the way, if you're considering, buying this phone, then it'll be available on Amazon starting May 21st. And yeah, that's it from me for this one. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, keep tracking and stay safe.